Hey guys, Luke here from Yak Hunters. Today what I'm going to talk about is how to maintain your tackle when it's kept or stored in your tackle boxes. So what I've got here is just your standard waterproof container or tackle box that houses your lures. And as you can see, a little bit of salt or corrosion and rust has spread or starting to spread throughout the tackle box. All right, so basically what's occurred is I've used one of these lures in salt water. I haven't cleaned or washed the lure after use. I've put it away and that corrosion or rust has started to spread throughout the box. How has that occurred? Well, it's quite a simple explanation, okay? So obviously with any sealed container that may be waterproof or airtight, if you add heat to this, okay, it causes condensation with any moisture that has remained within the box. So what's occurred is I've had a little tiny bit of saltwater residue on one of these lures. Obviously I've sealed the box. As heat's occurred, the condensation has occurred and spread that saltwater moisture mix throughout the tackle box. And as you can see, it's started to spread into other areas and affect other lures, okay, which is not what you want to happen. So here's an example of a well-maintained tackle box and a not so well-maintained tackle box, okay? So in extreme circumstances where this has left to occur over time, here's an example of what can happen to a tackle box. Boom. So as you can see here, that salt water and corrosion has spread due to condensation and literally wiped out an entire tackle box. So what happens to your tackle, I'm not sure if you can see here, but the hooks can become quite frail and brittle and you can literally just snap them off with one hand, okay? Not a good look, not fish friendly, and it's definitely a good way to destroy expensive tackle. The good news is, however, there are a couple of little tips and tricks you can use to maintain your tackle and keep it corrosion free. So here's an example of a well-maintained tackle box, okay? As you can see, this has been used in salt water. However, there's no corrosion or rust that has spread throughout the box. And there's a couple of tips for that which I recommend. So number one is if you are fishing in salt water, always wash your tackle after use, okay? Everyone loves having clean tackle. So I recommend washing it or soaking it in warm soapy water just to wash all that salt water off your lures and make sure there's no saltwater residue on your lure, okay? The second tip is dry your lures, all right? If you are putting wet lures back into the tackle box, obviously that's more chance of condensation occurring. And if there is that slight bit of salt in that moisture, okay, it's gonna spread. So drying your lures is a really good tip after you wash them. Make sure they're thoroughly dry. And lastly, okay, which is a good little lifesaver, is these little desiccant pouches, they're called, all right? So you will find these in some food products when you buy a new pair of shoes, they're often in there, or even in some electronic products. And what they essentially do is absorb the oxygen or moisture out of a container, all right, which prevents that condensation or moisture from spreading. So they come in a few different types, and the good news is you can buy these on eBay in bulk, and they're actually quite cheap. Or you can just source them out of packaging, etc. So by placing a couple of these in your tackle box, all it simply does is absorb that moisture, the oxygen or the condensation, and just prevents it from spreading throughout your tackle box, okay? So to reinforce those points, 1, always wash your tackle after saltwater use. 2, always dry your tackle after saltwater use. And 3, a couple of these little desiccant pouches in your tackle boxes will be the best decision you've ever made when it comes to maintaining your tackle. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope that video helps, and thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.